Welcome to my creativity rant, where I talk about how teachers are pushed by administrators and society to instill the value of the 21st century into our students, aka creativity, while also being told that we must push our students to do over 70 minutes a week of iReady learning and standardized testing practice drills over and over and over so that our students can reach the top percentile so that we can keep our jobs and get funding for our debilitating schools. How are we supposed to teach students how to be creative when all we are doing is drilling them and giving inordinate amounts of work to complete? How are we supposed to compose our own creative endeavors as a model for our students if all we're doing as teachers is lesson planning, grading, and assigning the mass amounts of work required by administrators? Before we go into that, I want to tell you a bit about who I am, and I want to tell you who one of my students is, just to solidify these two profiles. I am a music teacher in the school district of Philadelphia in a part of the city called Mount Airy. I teach kindergarten through 8th grade students, which only means I have to switch from, well, hello, kinders, to, hey, can you maybe wear some deodorant today? In my free time, I was an up and coming opera performer. Notice I said was. This is considered my creative pursuit outside of education that I removed from my life for reasons I'll get into later, but let's just say for now that it was burnout. I am retired. I also have a student in 7th grade. Let's call her Elle. Last year, she expressed interest in joining the choir that I was starting from scratch last year. She stayed for the entire year in my choir program. She auditioned for and won the lead in the school musical I was running until the pandemic hit. She loved being in my music class because she could be herself. I knew she was being herself because she could act the same in the halls, but would not act like that in her academic classes. Really a wonderful singer, actually, and passionate about the more abstract things in life, like love and friendship and having goals in life. She's in 7th grade now in virtual learning. She skipped my class for about a month before I got her to sign on, and when she did, she was dressed inappropriately for a school setting and completed no work, let alone participating in discussions in chat or out loud. She did not look like she was herself. I continued to let her know if she needed anything, I was here to help. When she started noticing her grades dropping, she started completing the work, but really bare bones. I assigned the 7th grade a really cool project that we worked on for a month, about 4 classes long. The students had to do only minimal amount of work outside of class since I gave them the opportunity to complete the work during class. It was all about their family heritage and music. They could ask their family members their favorite songs, find out how those songs influenced family events, find out nationality and ethnic music associated with their family, or even stick to finding out the musical background of Philadelphia. The format of the project was creative in the way that students could showcase their findings through a skit, rap, song, dance, poetry, Jamboard collages, and then of course I put the option for PowerPoint presentation for my shy students. Not only did Elle choose this option, but all of my students in both 7th grade classes chose PowerPoint presentation, even though I know Elle loves to sing and dance, and J is an excellent poet, and A is a dancer. Why did they choose PowerPoint over the other options, I asked? Their answer was that it was quick and easy. All of my students felt, at this time, the stress of their core classes so much that they felt they couldn't choose the more creative options. And this, friends, is the reason why we are contradicting the social standards that are put upon us in creativity within the 21st century. The teachers are stressed enough not to pursue their creative endeavors, and students are stressed enough not to pursue their creative endeavors. According to Ken Robinson on his TED Talk of creativity, children have extraordinary capabilities of innovation. What squashes it, said Robinson? There's a stigmatization of mistakes. As students grow into their mental capabilities, they realize that work that is wrong is work punished. Did you get 5 out of 10 of those questions wrong on the math test? That's an F. It didn't matter that the student came up with such a creative method for solving the problem at hand. There is a stigmatization of mistakes in America, fostered in teenagers into adulthood. Students who are on the younger side of the spectrum become some of the most creative humans out in the world. They can take a tissue and a stick and create an entire narrative with problems and solutions from just those two unrelated objects. A child's brain works as it sees in the world. There's no wrong answer. As they grow into the education system, though, stories of the past become unimportant. Time is of the essence, and solutions become linear. There's only one right answer, and if it's wrong, then you're wrong. If you're going to get the answer wrong, why keep trying? Why keep looking for that answer? Students resort to not trying, which limits creative capacity and motivation to continue in society. Robinson goes on to say that children's innate abilities are not valued and are stigmatized. In the 21st century, industrialism requires excellence in STEM. Anything outside of that is irrelevant and to be squashed. What's not to say there isn't creativity in the STEM world, because there definitely is. Why else would our society push for it so hard? We need creativity in STEM, but we're also not willing to compromise data in schools for creativity to foster this skill in curricula. Stigmatization also eliminates lots of options for acceptable job occupations, like musicians, composers, designers, poets, writers, painters, sculptors, blacksmiths, or video game designers. These are just some occupations over the years from friends, family, and students that were discouraged, including for myself. It's a shame, though, because we wouldn't have movie Super Bowl ads or our party playlists without these occupations, necessities in all cultures around the world. In high school, I wanted to be an opera star. I had the talent for it and the drive. All of my music teachers in my high school, except for one Mr. Morrow, discouraged me. The head of the music department even said to my mom, "She should stick to actuarial science." I had received acceptance from the Temple University Vocal Performance Program, and I was about to audition for Ivy League Conservatory at the Curtis Institute when I finally was pushed by my family instructors to give up and go into actuarial science. I was miserable in business school, but luckily I discovered music education and ended up in music school again to the chagrin of my family. I relearned creativity there and began exploring my opera career in the midst of building the foundation for my education career. I got as far as landing solos and leading roles in operas, working professionally for churches, synagogues, and choirs. I was working 5 days a week in my teaching profession and 7 days a week in my singing profession. Just wanted to say I could do it was enough for me, but I wanted to know how far I could take it. I burned out from the pressure of doing jobs I didn't want to do, and music became homework rather than a meaningful medium for experiences and the experiences of others. I realized this over quarantine in March 2020 and decided to drop my opera career. I found creative outlets outside of a career in music within the classroom which satisfied me. After opening up my time, I discovered creativity in nature walks and fostering my garden, in crocheting, painting, and rediscovering dance as a passion project. The bottom line here is simple. The ultimate way to lose your creative edge is through overbearance of your time and the stigmatization of creativity or creative pursuits as a waste of one's time. But enough of the bad. How do we teachers spark our creative side that was once lost to provide a model of creativity for our students? And how can we encourage our students in the midst of this repressive system to pursue their passions? Researchers have attempted to define creativity only to find that it is undefinable. It all depends on the context of the situation. For Julie Bernstein, the context is from loss and broken places where creativity can rise and make something more beautiful. For Stillman, the context is reproduction to the mass audience. I've combined a variety of definitions from my research on the key components of creativity and what activities to engage in order to foster creativity. These include preparation, or the observation of one's world to gather materials in one's toolbox, incubation of observation, consciously or unconsciously, embracing the loss that may or may not have occurred, translation of these ideas and observations into a medium while personalizing the translation, engagement in improvisation along with embracing the absurd, and to push against the limits and boundaries observed. As adult teachers, we can easily accomplish these goals in our trade. Observe the students and their movements, their strengths and their weaknesses. What makes them glow and what makes them nod off? Observe how changes and routines affect them. Notice the music and the shows they discuss or the ways they talk to each other. Let that information sink in while you're in the shower or taking a walk. Try translating these observations into physical things like art or words on a whiteboard to see how they connect with potential issues you might be having with a student's academic performance. See how they connect. Next, try something new and improvise to see the student's reaction. Was that a positive interaction? You just solved a problem. Was it not so positive? That's an observation. So go back to step one and try again. Even just a simple feng shui of your room could expand your horizons to change the burnout. Let go of school for a minute. I mean, it's difficult, I know. And think about how you can apply these creative components to your personal life. Try picking up a new artistic project. Slate time in your busy day just to observe and see what happens. Control the uncontrollable and find your creative balance. Your professional life and emotional well being will love you forever. Now let's look at our creative components in the lives of our kiddos. We have a system that is bogging them down with so much work they cannot function. We need to slate some time for our students to engage in creative outlets so that Jay isn't skipping your class to go work on their film storyboard. Yes, a real scenario I'm currently facing. Allow morning meetings to be a moment for students to observe. Allow time in the middle of your day for incubation. Give them opportunities to take one object and invent something with it. Prepare lesson plans without any mandated content where the students can produce something new, where there is no right answer, where the absurd is encouraged, where improvisation is fostered and valued amongst the student body. Be on their level and engage in these activities with them rather than above them. If we want our students to be able to solve problems, to critically think, to be focused, we need to lessen their time on data, to destigmatize their passions as being unimportant, and allow them to grow to their fullest potential. In order to do that, we as teachers need to allow ourselves the same luxury. Thank you.